How much courage do you have? Most people think that courage is only to do with doing something dangerous, like all these crazy people walking on these bridges. Do you have courage to do that? How about do you have courage to be yourself? To be your most powerful self. How much courage do you have to be your twisted self? Hi there, Neil here, the Twisted Light Worker. Today's video is on the topic of courage. What is courage really? And how can one develop a little bit more of it within themselves? I'm going to take this topic and expand on it with a little clip of 45, President Trump, when he recorded a number of years back how he was willing to give up everything to see who was loyal to him. That takes courage. I know what it's like because I've put everything on hold in the last 2 years, 2.5 years, and I've spent my whole 2.5 years digging up more research and posting what I find is truth. But this video I'm going to take the whole talk and speak from the perspective of the Toltec, both Carlos Castaneda and Mark 𝓘𝓷𝓽𝓻𝓸𝓭𝓾, two Toltec leaders who have outstanding quotes that run deep, run very deep. Courage. Do you have the power to be yourself, to face who you really are? It takes courage to stand up and be all that you can be. It takes courage. The average person clings to shreds of tenuous certainty, their family, their career, and their finances. For the warrior, uncertainty looms as a greater reality. The warrior knows these uncertainties and accepts them as family, career, and finance. The warrior wrestles with such things are larger than oneself. When you consider President Trump, what he's wrestling with is much larger than himself. Taking down the cabal, being the one that's taking the hits for everybody. How can you develop your version of courage in the same way? How can you do it? You can do a lot more than you think you can. You definitely can. You see, the average man is too concerned with liking people or being liked himself. A warrior likes. That is all. He likes whatever and whomever he wants, just for the hell of it. And that, quite frankly, is a very exciting way to approach life. That doesn't mean to say that you don't appreciate and respect every individual, but you like who you like for the hell of it. You like, what you like to eat, what you like to drive, what you like to wear, how you like to live. You do all of those things for the hell of it. Now the question is there ways that we can do things that will increase our own courage to be all we can be? Step out of our shell, step out of our quiet shell, and become the warrior. Tune into that part of ourselves that's massive, because we are much greater than what's trapped into this physical body. God hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of love and of power and of sound mind. That just tells you that you have the potential within you to do much greater things than you could ever imagine. You can become more than you ever can imagine. Think about having nothing to need. It's by your need that you are made to be vulnerable. It's by your need that impeccability is necessary. If needs are necessary, the warrior streamlines their needs to what makes them stronger. That way your needs work for you rather than against you. Let's break that down a little bit and really take a look at what that's saying. If you had no needs, no fears, that would mean, because our fears are needs that are not met. So if we have no needs, our ability to face the music would be much, much more powerful. Are you able to do that? What does it take? What does it take? So let's take a minute now and listen to what Trump has said a number of years ago about being willing to give up everything to see who's loyal to him. Does that sound like he is tied up and anchored down by his needs? No, he's totally free of them. Here's Donald a few years back. Donald J. Trump, a few years back.
You see, I'm so loyal to people. Maybe I'm loyal to a fault, but I'm so loyal to people that when somebody's slightly disloyal to me, I look upon it as a great act of horror.
And how are you different than you were 3 or 4 years ago?
Well, I used to say, and in fact, I think I said in my first book that, and maybe this was foolish, but I really meant it, that someday I'd like to maybe lose everything for a period of time to see who's loyal and who's not loyal. And I found out a lot of things.
Did you find out who's loyal and not
I
loyal?
tell you what, and you can't guess it. You can't predict it. You think certain people would be loyal no matter what, and it turns out that they're not. And you just can't predict it. It's very difficult.
And that
I think I would have treated people differently. I think that, some of the people that were most loyal to me are people that I didn't think would be. Some of the people that were least loyal to me are people that I think I would have treated them differently. I think I would have treated different groups differently. I would have wiped the floor with the guys that weren't loyal, which I will now do, which is great. I love getting even with people, but I will.
Slow up. You love getting even.
Oh, absolutely. You don't believe in the eye for the eye. You do.
No.
I know you well enough. I think you do. But anyway,
but tell me. I mean, you're going to get even with some people.
Yeah, I know. If given the opportunity, I will get even with some people that are disloyal to me. Come on, Governor. Even though you didn't endorse me.
Not forgotten.
So you can see by that clip that President Trump was on that path of being a courageous individual for a long time. It was something more than likely that was instilled in him right from his upbringing as a child. It's exciting to see that he was willing to give up everything. He was willing to give up everything just to see who's loyal to him. Now that takes courage. That takes courage. See, self-importance, self-pity, and self-sabotage cripple your ability to truly love and to have personal power. Awareness, energy, and intent have the faculty to handle what is truly love and what is truly power. Self-importance, self-pity, and self-sabotage are patterned and are hardwired through infantile and maturation. They are just the same patterns that are repeated over and over through the dreaming membrane. It makes us think we know love and power, but we are just as deluded as the dream of the world's configuration to stagnate the soul. We are really only here for one reason, that is to become the adept as we journey through all of the obstacles of perception, whose only clue is a lucidity that is quite rare. You see, when we consider ourselves as self-important, or if we have self-pity because we feel that we've been mistreated or not brought up in the right way, or our spouse doesn't do for us what we think they should, or if we think that our job is insufficient. All of those things create self-sabotage, self-pity and self-sabotage. They cripple your ability to truly love. And remember, God hath not given a spirit of fear, but of love and of power and sound mind. We have all the love that we ever need. We don't need to be looking for it. We already have it. We already have it. We have to have the courage to face the reality of who we really are. It takes courage to see the world through those type of parameters. You have to be willing to let go of your preconceived notions and your programming that has been part of the way you've been raised and brought up. This quote is extremely powerful. I hope you capture it and do some thinking about it. You see, we are often shown the path to success, but we more than often follow it back to our failure just to make the comparison. If this becomes the pattern, you can be sure self-sabotage is already set in. It's already set in. So it takes courage to realize that we are the makers of our reality. Through metaphysics and quantum physics, you realize and you study that thoughts are things. They're real. They create the world around us. They create our reality. Everything that happens to you is happening because of your thoughts. Everything that's happening to you is bringing something to you through the ether that will help you grow and become more in tune with the magnificence of who you really are. And you are much more than a physical being walking around in a body. You are much more than that. You see, there's a strength and confidence just from knowing who you are. There's a strength and confidence that is ascertained by the effective discipline that is practiced. Eventually, the strength and confidence will exceed just knowing who you are and what effective discipline you practice. Then you will have entered the realm of the warrior spirit. And when you do that, that takes courage. It takes courage to let go all of the preconceived ideas of who you thought you were. It takes courage to let go of your limitations and leap into the great abyss. The seers who deliberately attain total awareness are a sight to behold. That is the moment when they burn from within. The fire from within consumes them, and in full awareness they infuse themselves to the emanations at large and glide into eternity. Kari Lake, she expounded on that just by her response to a question that was given to her by a news journalist. Listen to Kari.
You feel like Joe Biden is dividing the country, but do you feel like Donald Trump is doing the same by falsely telling people that he won that election when he lost it?
How does that divide the country? Questioning an election where there are obviously problems is dividing the country? Since when can we not ask questions about our elections? As a journalist for many years, I was a journalist after 2016, and I distinctly remember many people just like you asking a lot of questions about the 2016 election results. And nobody tried to shut you up. Nobody tried to tell Hillary Clinton to shut up. Nobody tried to tell Kamala Harris when she was questioning the legitimacy of these electronic voting machines to stop. We have freedom of speech in this country, and you of all people should appreciate that. You're supposedly a journalist. You should appreciate that. So I don't see how asking questions about an election where there are many problems is dividing a country. What I do see dividing a country is shutting people down, censoring people, canceling people, trying to destroy people's lives when they do ask questions. Last I heard, we still have the Constitution. It's hanging by a thread, thanks to some of the work some people in this area have done. But we're going to save that Constitution, and we're going to bring back freedom of speech. And maybe someday you'll thank us for that.
That was awesome, wasn't it? Carrie did an outstanding job of just putting that questioner right in his place. Powerful. Do you think she had courage? She stood up there on the platform and was not worried about anything anybody said. She was in touch with the warrior spirit within, and she was empowered by who she has become. And she had no fear whatsoever of being all that she could be. And she handled that talk with impeccability. With impeccability. She handled that thought with impeccability and with intent. What is intent? Intent is not a thought, or an object, or a wish. Intent is what makes a man succeed when his thoughts tell him that he is defeated. It operates in spite of the warrior's indulgence. Intent is what makes him invulnerable. Intent is what sends a shaman through the wall, through space, and into infinity. You see, intent, that follows courage. When you have courage to be all that you can be, and you step out of your quiet shell and grab the bull by the horn and wrestle it to the ground, that takes courage. And when you step into that courage, intent becomes your friend. And intention is not intent. Intention is nothing more than a wish. I have the intention to do this or that. That's just a wish. But intent, that's power. That's done with the power of the will. The power of the will, and overcome your insecurities and take on the power and courage of all that you can be. You see, humans suffer from the intoxication of clarity. It's true. You believe whatever your senses tell you, what your mind thinks and what your emotions feel, and you'll think that it's the spirit. But the spirit is behind what your senses tell you, not what they tell you. The spirit is behind what you think, not what you think. The spirit is behind what you feel, not what you feel. You sense, think, and feel only because you are a sentient being who has allowed yourself to be ruled by what you sense, think, and feel. Rather, look behind all that to their dreaming origin and be intoxicated with the lucidity of the spirit in its place of greatest vitality. That's heavy, that's deep, and it's accurate. Heavy, deep, and accurate. Spend some time doing some thinking about what was just said in that quote. Do a screen capture of it and study it, ponder it. You see, finding courage, there's a discipline behind it, and that's a whole other video. It's thoughts in action, courage. Step out of your quiet shell and become all that you can be. What a blast. What a blast. It is a path of defiance, That's why force is used rather than surrender. That's why proficiency in force is necessary rather than surrender. You have surrendered too many things. You have surrendered your perception to the dream of the world. You have surrendered to your identity, as fragile as it is. You have surrendered to your weakness and vulnerabilities. You have surrendered to the laziness and pampering. You have surrendered to the idea that these are victories. You have surrendered to the idea that patience is fortuitous. If you have to wait for anything, you are held in a prison of now. You can't mix defiance with surrender. Sure, there are always setbacks and strategic retreats, but only to recalibrate and renew if necessary. There is no surrender. And where one had surrendered unconsciously, one must consciously be recovered. That too is a very powerful quote. It's worthy of deep pondering, deep study, deep analyzing. You have to have the courage to look deeper than what your first impressions will be. You have to have the courage to do a lot more than just listen to the video. And you definitely have to have the courage to do a lot more than look at a 15-second meme. It's unfortunate, it's ridiculous how lazy people are and narrow-minded. They're not willing to look deep with the wisdom that they have captured inside your essence, that's inside every single cell of your body. For God hath not given the spirit of fear, but of power, love, and sound mind. But you have to tap into all three of those. All the love that is required for a happy, healthy life is already given to you. All the power necessary to defeat your weaknesses and step into a warrior with courage is already given to you. And a sound mind means you're willing to reason. It means you're willing to research. It means you're willing to study. And it means you're willing to observe and have critical thinking. All of those things have been programmed, literally programmed right out of us. But these are the times of awakening. You see, the faith of the warrior is not lazy. It does not wait upon the promises of gurus, rishis, or gods. The faith of the warrior is derived from building the warrior spirit in adverse conditions and in arenas that have our decline and death in mind. The faith of the warrior is not built upon promises or beliefs. It is built upon experience and grooming our will into unbending intent. Grooming our will into unbending intent. For that it is necessary to cross a bridge. The bridge is already under your feet. All we have to do is walk it. If you meet your warrior spirit on the other side, you'll know that the challenge has just begun. The challenge has just begun. You see, courage is a whole lot more than just being willing to step out onto a bridge that's got some broken steps and it's got it way up high in the air. Courage really is courage to face who you really are and become who you really can become. How much can you become if you had the courage to face all of your magnificence and embrace it? It takes courage. It takes a huge amount of courage to take that leap. Take that leap. And to do that, we have to quiet our minds. We have to quiet our negative programming. We have to quiet all of the, literally, the programming that we've been dealt with from our grandparents to our parents to us, from education to the news to everything. We have to quiet that. We have to quiet the internal dialogue, because it is what grounds us in the daily world. The world is such and such or so and so only because we talk to ourselves about it being such and such and so and so. The passageway into the world of the shamans open up after the warrior has learned to shut off his internal dialogue. And that takes courage. It takes courage to quiet that ego's chatter. We're not programmed for it. To listen to that wee small voice within. Listen to that powerful master within. To embrace it, to become it, to become the warrior spirit. It takes courage. To step out of being the ordinary. You see, the self-confidence of the warrior is not the self-confidence of the average man. The average man seeks certainty in the eyes of the onlooker and calls that self-confidence. The warrior seeks impeccability in his own eyes and calls that humbleness. The average man is hooked to his fellow men, while the warrior is hooked only to infinity. Now, don't you think that President Trump magnifies and amplifies all the courageous statements that are in this whole video? Now, the thing of it is you and I have that capacity. Yes, we do. We have the capacity to assume all the virtues that we see in President Trump and expand them into our own being. But it takes courage to let go of the smallness that you perceive yourself to be at this moment. It takes courage. It takes a huge amount of courage to embrace the magnificence of all that you are. It takes courage to be twisted and put out crazy videos that actually have some depth. It takes courage to put out videos that can cause censorship of every platform you're on. I lost 30,000 followers because I made 4 videos in February of 2021. Those 4 videos were exposing human trafficking, and I gave solutions of how we can use human trafficking in a positive way to get back control of our freedom of speech, get back control of online, get back control of the media, get back control of the radio airwaves, what we hear on the radio commentary. Those 4 videos, in less than a month of producing and putting them up, Minds, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook all banned me. Facebook didn't put me in jail, they banned me. I must have been on track. And it took courage to step out of my comfort zone to do those. I never did any videos before. And those videos are not all that professionally done. But the messages that I put in those videos are 100% dead on. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been banned from those 4 platforms so quickly. I went across the street and opened up new Facebook using my neighbor's Wi-Fi, and I came home and logged on. In 30 hours, they had me down. Am I on track? Yeah. It took courage to step out of my comfort zone, to learn all these softwares, to how to record videos and improve upon them. It takes courage to put your name out there. It takes courage to stand up and be the most that you can be. So I encourage you to develop that courage. Look within and find that courage like President Trump and Kerry Lake. Be the warrior spirit. Yeah, be the warrior spirit that you can be. Embrace the power of all that you are. For God hath not given a spirit of fear, but of love and power and a sound mind. It's all theirs for you. It's all there for you, just for the taking, just for the receiving. But you have to be willing to let go of your preconceived limitations. You are more than you think you are. Have the courage to embrace that part of you that is waiting to be expressed in this beautiful planet that we live in. A quick thank you for all the people who have bought me coffee. I have a buy me a coffee link in the bottom of in the description below. And if you like this video, check out the links in the description to other videos that I always post other video links in the description of my videos. But the most important thing is, as I encourage you truly to step out of your quiet shell and meet the warrior spirit that you really are on the inside. Have courage to face the greater you and become that greater you. Assume a virtue, and it's yours. So if you like this video, please share it, pass it along. And if you really like the video, you can buy me a coffee. I'll do that again. Put a point to the wrong corner. And actually the link's down below anyways. So, and I wish for you, as I always do, I wish each and every one of you peace profound. I wish for you peace profound.